It's me, Eggburt once again. I'm the new owner of this station. I went out and hired the best talk radio consultant, Jeff Allen from News Talk STL, and told him to hire the worst talent he could find. Jeff did exactly as I told him. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Brad and John.
Okay, John, moving right along with what we've been talking about, you have to explain something to me, which I saw over the weekend on a Facebook post, and I was like, okay, I don't quite understand what's going on here, and you've brought this place up once or twice, and you've apparently said that you know a little bit more about it than I do. Okay, here's a Facebook page that I saw, and I can't remember, I screenshot it. The guy's name is Don, what's his name? I can't read here. Don Crozier, Crozier. And his Facebook page is, or the post is, Soda Museum in St. Charles is hosting another right-wing event. Don't patronize. Explain to me, you know about the Soda Museum, okay?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, first off, explain to what people the Soda Museum is.
Okay, yeah, so the history here is important. Years ago, 30 years ago, there was a gentleman named Tom Smith, who I believe went to Northeast State University, which is now Truman State University. And he was a young Republican activist. He ended up getting involved in campaigns and being involved with a number of Republican candidates in the St. Charles area, in the St. Louis County area particularly. And he had statewide connections as well. His name was Tom Smith. And he happened to collect a lot of items, antiques that had to do with soda. For a long time, his email address included a reference to a soda museum. I won't give it away on the air, but for 30 years he had an AOL address that was in that vein. And Tom kept this stuff at home. And then eventually over time, as I understand it, he opened up the soda museum in St. Charles. And so because Tom has such strong long-term Republican connections with campaign folks, it has become a gathering place of sorts for conservative events.
Okay, here's a comment on it. First off, Jen Lazar says, how dare someone corrupt soda like that? And then Amy Sims Easterling says, my kid 18 and their girlfriend went downtown today to hang out. I had to warn them about the soda museum. Okay.
Like, what's going to happen? You're going to go in there and is it going to be like a House of Scientology where they stop and they connect you to some electrodes and they read your, engrams and tell you what's wrong with you?
I don't know. See, that's why I brought this up, because I'm going like, okay, I don't quite understand this. Now, I know that, like what you said, there have been, let me see if I can bring this whole page up. There's post after post after post about people saying, I can't believe they allowed them. And then there's something about the fact that somebody's saying that, here it is right here. Let me see if I can find it. The Don Crozier, there he is right there. Yeah, here we go. Okay, here's some of the comments. Okay, I'm up here right now. Okay, I will never darken their door. This is Jamie Newsham, okay? Jesse Chauviniste. They won't get any of my money either. I was also hoping that place would be cool. Don Crozier says, the event is being put on by Americans for Prosperity, a 501c4. And then somebody else says, not getting my business, affiliated with the Koch brothers, enough said. Thanks for the heads up. I knew I got a bad feeling about the place. That was Mallory Box. Richard Orr says, yes, it's clear whose side they are on, and it's not ours. Luckily, their admission so high, I doubt they get much business. I don't understand it. I mean, why?
Well, here's why, and let me interrupt. Here's why I think is you went to the Freedom Caucus kickoff, which was there, which attracted folks from around the state. And I'm guessing if you were somebody that pays pretty close attention to government, and there were people there that you don't like, if you really dislike Bill Eigel, or you really dislike Bob Onder or Nick Schroer or somebody like that, maybe you'd be like, well, to hell with that place. If they host the Freedom Caucus, I don't want anything to do with them. And it's just a way to be petty. Now, to me, and here's me, Brad. Like, I don't come out of pocket for anything. And I remember seeing how much they charge to get into the soda museum, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna pay X amount of dollars to walk around and sip a soda. I don't even drink soda, so I don't really have any interest in it. But you get what I'm saying? It's just a way for some people to be petty, I think.
Well, I just don't understand it. I mean, the interesting thing about this is we've become, and there's something going to happen today. at least I hope it's going to happen today. And already I've got a problem, which I won't mention on the air right now, but I just realized something, and it's sort of driving me nuts because I keep fixing something and it keeps breaking. But there's hopefully something going to happen today, and tomorrow I'll be able to come on the air and thank a bunch of people, you included, John, and sort of have a new beginning. But what I don't understand is why, and I used to play this from time to time. I got the little cut from what's his name? Can't we all just get along?
Rodney King.
Rodney King. Okay, if you know anything about the whole crazy thing with him being beat by the police and being recorded, it's probably the footnote in history. It's probably the first, video that went public that changed the country. I mean, let's be honest with you. If you know the whole story, he was not a good dude to begin with. He's gotten in some trouble, and he had the police on a long police chase, and they finally pulled him over, and they just beat the crap out of him. Okay, let's be honest, they beat the crap out of him. You can you can see it on the video. Okay, was that right? No, of course not. It was not right. Okay, it was one of these, touchstones, one of these, time frame, whatever you want to call it, on the continuum of history. There's a check mark there, just like the Michael Brown thing. There's a check mark coming up on 10 years ago. Okay, so why is it that we get so, well, you're this and I'm that, but yet these same people identify as Christian? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that, to me, this is me, the guy who's not the best at this, but I try. Isn't there things like, let he was out the sin cast the first stone? That's
true, Brad.
And the idea about the fact that you shouldn't judge your fellow man, that he will be judged by the man upstairs, that guy, who's is the real judge of us. And if you're in the Catholic faith, you do things that are bad, and you go to confession, you confess your sins. I just don't understand why it's gotten to the point where, well, we don't do any business with them because they're owned by Republicans. And even to the point where I have to be honest with you. I will tell you this, and I know that I'm going to get pushback. I think the Republicans are worse at this than the Democrats are.
Yeah, maybe. By the way, Brad, can I interrupt with something real quick that has to do with Democrats and Republicans and being vicious about an inter-party fighting? For the first 7 months of our show, Brad, you talked about how, maybe more than 7 months, you talked about how Republicans are all fighting amongst each other and Democrats are getting along. Do you think Democrats were unified for the last few weeks behind Joe Biden?
Are they unified behind him?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Okay. But you see my point, Brad. And my point has always been that when given the opportunity, Democrats will tear themselves down just as much as Republicans tear themselves down.
Yeah, but let's be honest. The thing that me, as a member of the media for a long time, the thing that drives me nuts about this is that you saw the mainstream media protect Joe Biden. There's and his own staff protect Joe Biden. And the thing that drives me nuts is I will never, once again, one of the things in my life which is burnt into my brain is watching the debates on CNN, the debate on CNN, now the one and only debate between Biden and Trump this cycle, okay? And 9 panelists on CNN, and the debate's over, and they go to the panelists, and John King, who is the guy who is, Mr. Democrat on CNN, he's essentially ripping Biden apart. And the other 9 people, including Van Jones, at one point in time, Van sort of almost cries and said, well,
Joe Biden is my friend. I love him.
I love Joe Biden. But everybody knew that was the real Joe Biden. They were hiding that from us, hiding it. And to the point where then he comes out and he does 2 interviews. He does the interview with, well, who was the first one he did with? He did it with, was it Anderson Cooper? And then he did the one this past week where he did it with what's the guy's name? The guy in NBC. I'm getting old, John. You got to help me with this.
Yeah, I didn't.
Lester Holt. Okay.
Lester Holt. Yeah.
And he's going off on Lester about the Republican media is controlling it. I go, the Republican media. What planet does he live on? Once again, we had the guy come out from NPR, and he essentially says, there's not one single solitary person in the newsroom who voted for Donald Trump. Matter of fact, there's nobody in the newsroom who is even a registered Republican. We're all Democrats. We're all liberals, me included. And we give you unbiased news, balderdash. That's... And plus, the government pays for it, but that's a whole other story. Okay, I'm off my soapbox, John.
Now, something had prompted your statement about Christians and being petty. Was it the Soda Museum issue?
Okay. Do you really want me to tell this story?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
We got 6 minutes, Brad. Why not?
Okay, years ago, I did this thing called CompuTraffic, which was a traffic network. And I started this. It's a crazy story. I got into this business that I used to fly a helicopter for Y98 or KY98, whatever it called ourselves back in the day. And one day, my boss, Karen Carroll, calls me in the office and says, hey, I shouldn't be telling you this, but we're going to be sold soon. And at this point, legally, she couldn't really tell me that. She sort of swore me to secrecy. The station's going to be sold. The new owners are already came in. And the first thing they're going to drop is a helicopter. Too expensive. We need traffic reports via the helicopter. So I started a traffic network. Okay. And how I made money was I gave the traffic reports to the radio station for free. And in turn, I got advertising, which I turned into an advertising package. So if you bought my advertising package, and as my network grew, at one point in time, I had every radio station in town except for KMOX and KLOU. You bought my advertising package. You got an ad on every single solitary radio station in town, which was like a really
big deal,
a cost-effective advertising package. One of the advertisers, one of the radio stations was WCBW. A contemporary at the time, a contemporary Christian station, which at the time was a commercial station. They ran ads. And it was interesting because it was owned by two Jewish brothers, sort of interesting, and they owned all these, literally, they owned all these Christian radio stations around the country, two Jewish guys. And the studios were actually on Main Street in Columbia, Illinois. The station was licensed in Columbia, Illinois. The lady who ran the station was a name of Linda, and the program director was Sandy Brown. The same Sandy Brown who now runs Joy 99. And when I would go and present my advertising package to advertisers, potentially to show them to buy it, they would look at it and they'd go like, okay, Casey, I know that station, Y90, I know that station, and they would look through all the stations. They go, WCBW, what? Who's that? I never heard of it. And I'd say, well, it's a contemporary Christian radio station. They have very loyal audience, and the chances are that they're going to hear your ad in your station. They're going to come do business with you. Well, I never heard of them before. So let's say, and this happened probably through the years, probably 18, 20 times. I would have an advertiser start on my package, and a week or two in, I would get a call from the advertiser. And they would tell me they were happy with the response, but they're unhappy with one thing that kept happening. And you know what the one thing was?
No, what's that?
People would hear their ad on WCBW, and they would call them on the phone and say, hi, I heard your ad. I just want to make sure you're a Christian, because if you're not, we're not doing business with you.
Oh, wow.
And I thought to myself, to me, that's sort of like the most unchristian thing to do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I get it.
For example, if a guy was Jewish and owned whatever kind of store, why couldn't he advertise on a Christian radio station? And why couldn't the Christians go and help him out and grow his business? So I found that interesting. And through the years, I have been... sometimes I say somewhat outright attacked by people who have come at me because of the fact that I have violated some Christian tenet or something like that, and I'm going like, I don't, once again, I'm a sinner, you're a sinner, tell me, probably one of my favorite stupid stories was I had lunch with a person years ago, this is probably 15 years ago, and this person admonished me at being a bad person. I did this. I was a terrible person because I did this. I'm a terrible person because I did that. And I said, well, you don't do anything wrong. No. I do nothing wrong. So I was supposed to follow this person to another meeting. We had lunch and we're going to a meeting. And I followed this person, a lady. She runs a red light. She makes a right turn on another intersection, makes a right turn on a no right turn on red. She makes a right turn on red. She goes down a street at 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, then turns into where we're going where there's a no left turn sign. She makes a left turn at the sign. And we got out of the car. It took me a while to catch up with her. And I said, remember that thing at lunch we talked about? I don't do anything wrong. I do the things wrong. I go, well, what about you? Well, I don't do anything. Okay. You ran the red light, you made a right turn on no red turn, and then you sped and you made a left turn in here where it says no left turn. She said, well, that's different. Those are traffic laws.
Yeah, they don't really apply. And in her defense, she also purchased from Penzi Spices. So that negates anything wrong she would have done, Brad. She helps educate about why Republicans are terrible.
It doesn't. I don't get it, John. I really don't. I don't understand. And the thing about it is that the Soda Museum, and the other thing, we'll go back to that for a minute. The Soda Museum, also there's someone in there saying they're violating the law because he's operating as a 501c3. Okay, explain that to me. Why is he see?
I'm not a spokesman for Tom Smith or the Soda Museum. I have no idea if he is a 501c3 or not.
Okay, but here's my thing, okay? And this is where I'm going to get myself into trouble.
And you love nonprofit, so you're well established as a cheerleader for nonprofits.
I am not, because of the fact that I think it's terrible what the nonprofits do because they don't support the community. They don't support, if I go into Goodwill does not pay any real estate taxes. If you buy something from Goodwill, they don't even charge you sales tax. So
I do know that. Where do you think I get all my clothes?
Well, but the idea being is they're not supporting the community. Oh, we're supporting the community. No, you're not. If
they're hiring people that might have a hard time getting hired, Brad. Don't you think that's true?
To a certain
Brad, you're not. You know what? You're kind of sounding like a CINO to me, Brad. And my friend Brad taught me that phrase.
CINO, Christian name only?
You guys kind of sounded like a CINO.
No, what I'm saying is if they were really about supporting the community, they would say, you know what, we don't have to charge sales tax, but we are going to. And, we don't have to pay real estate taxes, but we're going to. That would, to me, go like, okay, I like them.
And this is your argument. This is why you were in solidarity with the Democratic Socialists of St. Louis that are looking to extort money from Washington University, Brad. You're such a Chi-Com. You're wearing one of those Chinese polyester uniforms, and you're just marching with the Democratic Socialists. What I love about today, though, Brad, is that I feel like there's a lot of emotion that's coming out of you today, and I have a feeling that, tomorrow you're going to have a brand new mindset.
I am. And I'm going to announce something tomorrow that on one hand, you're not going to believe. You're going to go, okay, Brad's punking us. But
I say that to you every day, though. I think you're punking us every day.
Today at noon, hopefully my life will change, but there's still a chance that it won't. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, I'm picking 4-leaf clovers, and I'm having all my fingers crossed, Brad.
I'm looking over a 4-leaf clover. Did you ever sing that song from way back when?
That'll take us, unless it's coming from the Dua Lipa singers. I don't want to hear it, Brad.
You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. Why is that?
I can't even tell you all the things that have been said that are just wrong here.
I don't even know where to start from all of the things that have been said that are just wrong.
John.
Brad, we will see you on Tuesday.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's C-O-M-B-E-S-T, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?